My name is Cleophas Oluoch. I'm your moderator for this session and the next. I'm a trained journalist, and today we are here to do some reflections. And we are glad to have a panel that will tell us why they are here today and why this topic really fits them. And that's, they tried, they failed, they built again. Welcome to this session. So for this first conversation, allow me to invite Isaac Rashid Agina to start us off. Just tell us why this topic resonates with you.
Thank you so much. My name is Isaac Rashid, also known as Rashid Mzee in social circles, and I've been here for about 9 years. Before I arrived in the US, before I got to the US, I had a few startups that were going on in our country, and I tried as much as I could to break some barriers because nobody had done such things before, so I tried out, let me try this, let me try that. I tried very many things, and I traveled to very many countries. I was fortunate enough to be involved in craft, the craft industry. And the craft industry has something called fair trade. I was involved in fair trade, and my craft company was involved in recycling, just making very nice recycling stuff. And we tried as much as we could to be as profitable as we could. We can say everything we want, but at the end of the day, the entrepreneurs are really, really, really putting effort into what they do.
Yeah. So, is there a way Africa entrepreneurs are prepared, or something that you can change, be it a code or a model that can be changed for Africa entrepreneurs to get ready and prepare for such times when you're low and when you're high?
A few things come to mind. First of all, in the morning we talked about research and the way the US government sponsors research into the innovations. African innovations are singular innovations. No government is giving research opportunity to grow. And because we do not have the research, we use data from other places. So, for example, you want to build an app, but you do not have the data because you're not able to get any data. So that makes you fail because you use the wrong set of data, a very nice product, but because you do not link the two of them, then you fail. So if we could get a way of ensuring that government is introduced into this part of success, we can tell them like, hey government, we know that you're busy, but please come in and see. This is what you do when you fund research. Let's see the long-term effect of funding research. That would be one of the best things to do. Now, secondly, there's something called mentoring. We don't have mentoring opportunities in Africa. Most people, once they're successful, they just, I did it by myself. Or they're not reachable. They're busy. Why don't we mentor people? Now, the last thing is, how do we test our products? Do we actually test? Or do we just launch it? Sometimes we test, but we test using our friends who are kind enough to give us nice feedback. We don't test it to the real market, which can tell you that, hey, this is trash. We cannot buy it. So your friends will tell you, oh, it's an amazing thing, amazing product. When you launch, nobody's interested.
Wow. And so we want to open this, having heard from Agina and Joanne. Walter?
Yeah, most of the time we think that the solutions are with the panel. Then we discover that there's an idea that is seated in this room that is quiet. And it's bound just to be given a microphone without necessarily raising their hands. For example, forget the one who's raised their hands. They're excited to be here, and we are coming to them. But there are those who are quiet. And Father, we recognize your presence. Thank you very much for the blessings that we have here. So let me see. Those who've been very quiet, but they have ideas. In the next 10 minutes, we'll just be having a conversation from the plenary. If you have any particular question that you want to point out to the panelists, please do so. But if you're inspired and you've got something that you want to share, please raise up your hand and I'll bring the microphone to you like this one. Thanks for raising your hand.
Hi everyone, my name is Christine Cole. I'm based in New York. Thank you so much for a wonderful panel. My question goes to you, Johan, about LinkedIn. How do you grow in LinkedIn, and also are there other platforms that you would encourage people who are diving into workforce to post and stay engaged? Thank you.
There are many ways of getting to know whether you want to contribute to Pigeni Makofi. Just let's give a round of applause. There are those who look blank. For example, they have been around for the whole hour and they look blank, and I just want to hear them say something. You're very blank.
Hi everyone, my name is Catherine and thank you for the panelists. I have a question about data, maybe a comment. Not necessarily tech related, but I was talking to this researcher who is doing a research here in the US in a university, and they were working with the government of Botswana, which is also Africa, and whoever is working in that department is not willing to give them the data, and they're not going to pay for this research. This is healthcare. This lady who has done all the work, the university has reached out to them, and they're not willing to share the data. And I think this might also be happening in Kenya. And I just wonder, you're here representing the government, how we can work with the government or tell them about, if someone is doing research, and I'm talking about the US, don't worry about data security, because if there's a place where data is secure and people are mindful about it, it's the US. It's unfortunate that someone is doing research. You don't have to pay for it, but you don't want to share your data. And that's healthcare. And I'm sure even in tech. And I was blank, right?
Now we see why she was blank. And somebody just reminded her that data is the new oil. So it's not something that you will easily walk in and get. You were inspired, young lady. You want to say something, and quickly, if you have a question, and then we will give the panelists. I'm coming to you, ma'am.
My name is Masi Maseki, and I would just like to comment on Joan because I heard her speak in the 7th graduation in December, and I was really inspired by what she said. And because I just come from Kenya at that time, and I had a career coach in Kenya, and I got a career coach in the US, because as much as the US career coach was really nice in helping me identify the new market, I realized that also they really don't believe in our talent. So I had a support system with a career coach in Kenya, because the Kenya career coach understood the talents I had, understood how smart I was, and when I started applying for jobs in the US, I remember the career coach in the US, when she had applied in Amazon, she was like, why would you apply in Amazon? It's the hardest company to get to. And I was like, I applied because everything, the JD described me, and I was like, it just describes me. And that is a job that I got. But if I had listened to the US career coach, I would not currently be working in Amazon. So I would say also, it is important to have career coach from both sides of the world, because the other one understands you as a person, understands your insecurities, understands the moments that you cry in the bathroom, and understands also the language barrier that you need to pass through as well.
Yeah, thanks very much. We are coming to you, and this young man will just take 3, then we allow the panelists to wrap up so that we can move to the next one. For those of you who come from a country that we call Kenya, we know what mentors and people would say. When you ask them, how did you get the success that you have? Wanasema nini?
Hello everybody. So my name is Lorna Sempele. Thank you so much for what you have shared. I'd like to hear from you as a career coach. whether ageism is a problem in the US as it is in Kenya. Because in Kenya, it is a very real challenge that as soon as you get to 60 or even 50, you're already considered useless in the market. And when you come to the US, they tell you age is but a number. Is this true, or in your career coaching experience, do you still see that age is a problem here?
Yeah, and we are speaking about us who are above 50. So please, we appreciate it. If you get him a coffee to Fabari, yeah, thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you for everyone, especially Professor Ouma, and also saying thank you again for the opportunity to speak, and thank you for all the organizers, especially Professor Ouma, for this really important and educational conference. I can say I'm one of the people who, I came to support my sister. I heard about it, I was like, I'm not in tech.
That's the sister.
Oh yeah, Joanne is my sister by the way. I'm Jillian Marini, I'm the older sister. I can attest to what she said in terms of the challenges that she was going through, that we were going through. And speaking of what the topic right now, what I can say is it's really important that we support each other, whether we are blood related as siblings or whether we are Kenyans. Having been here in the US for more than, it's almost 20 years now, maybe 18, 19 years, I can say that when you have that person in the corner, whether it's your mentor, your coach, who's going to believe in you when you don't even believe in yourself, is very, very, very important. One last thing I would say is, I know having come from Kenya, people always say something like, oh, when you come to the US or when you go to the UK, that your educational credentials from back home don't matter. That is not true. You have to speak to them, you have to believe in yourself. And I can say when I came, all the jobs I've gotten was not necessarily for the education I got here, but I stood by what I had from home. So I think that is one of the things I would say, or one of the advice I want to tell people here, and please spread it back at home. Because people always, depending on who picks you from the airport, they will probably tell you, that person is really important. The person who picks you from the airport the very first time you land here is going to determine your future, whether you're going to be successful or not. And so do not offer that as advice.
Now that I know that the person who needs to pick you up from the airport, return me to the airport. Yeah. Let's hear from this young man, then we'll go back to the panel.
I'll be quick. Titus Parioki, business analyst at the Bank of New York Mellon and founder of Kenyan STEM Association. And I'm a mentee of Joanne. She does a great job. I declare myself a successful case study next year, a time from now, so let's check it next year. But to support Joanne's statement, something I've learned, especially when it comes to reputational risk, is in most cases, it's very surprising how quick people will forget your mistakes. It's so, like people, what is how Yamakosa so quickly, you wonder if it's a big deal in the first place. They'll only remember the win in the end, like the World Cup the other day. Argentina, they beat someone 2-0, but you forget Messi missed a penalty, you see. So the fact that people forget is so intriguing. I thought, okay, you might as well take the shot, but not to self.
Yeah, thanks very much. Before I come back to the panel, there are people above 50 and 60 who are very enthusiastic about the question she asked. So please allow me to focus on the above 50s. Yeah, young ladies, you have something to say.
Yes, I'm above 50. So,
It works even above 50.
I believe you. And yes, age is just a number. To her point, really coming to America, whoever picks you up from the airport is really, really important. And then, when I first came to this country, I was told that, because I used to live in Baltimore, and there was something called Baltimore Sun, and it had wonderful jobs. And I came, I didn't have working papers yet, and I was told, Magi usijaribu, they were sending me to Royal Farms, utarudishwe nyumbani. But being the Maggie that I am, I tried. I trusted God and I tried. And I got my first job with Catholic Relief Services, which is an international organization. And then for those of you who have platforms back in Kenya, please let us know that you come to this country and you need to do things like eye contact. I missed wonderful opportunities because I was a shy girl. That's us. That if you look at somebody in the eye, you know, you own a respect. No. Talk to people about eye contact and such things. You have to speak up. You could be shy, an introvert like me, but when you're looking for something, you got to speak up.
The panelists, please prepare to tell us what is the role of AI in eye contact. Okay.
Thank you very much, Professor Uma, Professor in the Making, for organizing this and all the organizers. And actually, my question goes to you, Joanne. And it's tied to the dilemma that's there for professionals who are still working, who would like to transition. They want the visibility, but they have a challenge with being visible online for purposes of conflict of interest with the organizations they work with. Other than having the faceless kind of like agent, which most of us try to use, what is the way out of this? Other than that, I really want to attest to what she's saying in terms of networking and the power of networking. I moved here, I'm only a year old in the US. I moved here from Iraq last year. And when I was in Iraq, I started an AI certification course with one of the top women, somebody I met on LinkedIn, Alicia Little. She's one of the top women in the 40 black women. And through those powerful networks, she's introduced me to people who I would never have known. As we speak, even last Friday, she invited us to the Black celebration, June 19th at Carnegie Hall in London, in New York. That is the importance of networking, and don't network small. Everybody here in this room is powerful. Target who you need to network with, and don't aim small, don't play small, because there's so much we can do as Kenyans, and we are really, really a brilliant staff. So don't underrate yourselves.
I'm glad I know you. I'm coming to sit next to you. Where are you going next? Oh, Claire first.
Thank you, Walter. And there are questions cutting across LinkedIn, data sharing, career coaching, age, and any other thing in between. Joanne, take us through the questions, and I know there are quite a number. If you'll brush through in a minute, then we'll wrap it up with Agina.
All right. The first question was how to grow on LinkedIn and whether LinkedIn is the only platform that you should be growing on. So the quick answer to that is LinkedIn is the Bible of careers. It's the Bible. So I would have to tell you the first place you should be focusing on entirely, especially as somebody who's trying to break into corporate or anything of that sort, even if you're a business person right now, all the people with the money are on LinkedIn, right? So you want to be on LinkedIn, because if you're selling something, the people on LinkedIn actually have money, right? On TikTok, yes, it's nice, but how many people actually have money on TikTok? A few here and there. So I would say LinkedIn is the Bible. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't be vibrant in other social media platforms. I'm everywhere. I'm on YouTube because that's where I'm speaking. I'm a speaker as well, and that's how I get my speaking engagements, right? Because I'm constantly putting out a lot of content. But my biggest platform is LinkedIn because my niche is number one. I want to be big in my tech field. So I want my future, whatever company or whatever I'm doing to be seen there, right? And also, most of the people that work with me end up finding me on LinkedIn most of the time. So I would say that's what you need to focus on. On the age part, no. In America, when you come here in Kenya, you're told by 50 you should be retiring, right? In America, that's not a thing. People retire at 90. In fact, at 90 is when they're like, okay, now I want to go become a doctor, or I want to do this and that. You're the one person who will determine what you want to do. If you want to do it, work with me, find somebody who can work with you. Let's package you, let's brand you, let's put you in the right place, and go do whatever you want to do. And as somebody who's moved from finance back into tech and all of that, you can transition whichever way you want. You just need the right direction. That's it. And I think that's it. Was there another question? I think that's it.
Wow. And there was a question on data sharing. I hope
Yes.
you'll cover it again.
The way data works, as Bani said, data is the new gold. It's really, really, really difficult to get it. But if you explain which type of data you need, because people think that, oh, when you need data, you're going to exploit it. Sometimes you don't need everything. You just need one particular aspect of the data. Now, maybe that will work, but I'm also struggling with getting data for analysis. I have done some studies, and sometimes the data in the US is given to me faster than the data back home, and yet I'm an insider back home. So that's a technical problem. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about as we wind up is someone talked about alternative platforms. Even though you have your LinkedIn profile and your upcoming programmer, it doesn't make sense that you don't have, for example, a GitHub account where your work can be seen, because the guy in LinkedIn is looking through your GitHub account to see what else has this person made. You can say what you've made, but they can see what you've made in GitHub. Now that applies across board. Like if you're in this sector, if you're in beauty sector, what products have you made? So that someone can follow your tree and see where everything is.
Thank you. Thank you again. Parkinson, Joanne, as we wrap this up.
Yeah. Do you want to ask the question again? Ageism?
No, it's not about ageism. My name is Christine Polo. For me, I'm in banking. I said the future is, of course, AI and finance as well. You need finances for the AI. So she asked a question that, yes, like now in my line of work, because I have many of my colleagues, my bosses, as friends on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So how can I, let me say, promote a certain type of field? Like now I'm in finance, of course, but now how can I start promoting cybersecurity? I'm also doing those classes. I'm in fear of my bosses seeing, and they're going to be concerned what's going on with Christine Polo.
Okay, so this is what I always tell my students, that if something is blocking you, whatever that thing is blocking you from your future. Because remember, we spoke with you a little while ago about people are being laid off left, right, and center right now. So you have to remember, when it's all said and done, when you receive that letter, that email, or whatever it is that they use to tell you to go home, your brand is the fastest way for you to be able to land the next job, right? So if you have a conflict of interest, for example, you can't talk about finance, right, because you're in finance, but you've also said you're working on a new field. So what you need to do, and don't worry about the people that are looking at you, in fact, they're admiring you. Let me tell you, the people in my company, all of them follow me, and they always are like, oh my God, like, we love you. I speak at Microsoft events all the time. And it's because I'm busy building something outside of work. Yes, there will always be that one person who is jealous, and some of them might penalize you, but remember, you're building your future. This company is a job. It's a job. It's not your future. So what I would say is, go in there, write your name boldly, and if they comment about your personal space, where are they in your personal space? They can get out of it. They don't need to be there, because you're not doing it at work. It's your personal space.
Thank you. Thank you. If they're looking at you, they are admiring you, right? Okay, so I'm looking at you guys. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking at you, and we really appreciate what you do. I know we are about to get into the other session, and there is one interesting guest.
And the other session that is very important is lunch. So it's coming up like in 30 minutes, so check on your clocks. By the way, Cleophas, I realized that the discussion of ageism has cropped up again. And since we have many people here who are above, we are young people, above 50. we would like to hear from a researcher perspective. You know, when we talk about research, we talk about data. When we talk about data in its raw nature is of no value if it's not analyzed. So, James, Ruthie, can you share? He's a researcher in ageism. Jesus Christ, subjects.
Hello everybody, how are you doing?
Right.
My name is Dr. James Brody and I'm a social gerontologist, meaning that I study aging. Alright? Yeah, public health. Yeah. First of all, anytime you hear a word that has the ism in it, ageism, it's a problem, regardless of whether it's America, whether it's Norway, whether it's anywhere. There's a problem here about ageism. Alright? So this issue of, oh, you can be whatever you can be, has a nuance to it. So not all professions can you just go and get a job as an older person. So it depends. We were talking at our table here, academia does have older people. But in reality, if you look at even, for example, the fashion industry, how many old people do you see as models in America? Would you know something called granny panties? Why is it called granny panties? Because it's ugly and people don't like it, right? So there's ageism in the US and we cannot run away from it. So I'm here to tell you that academically or conceptually, any word that has ism in it is structurally baked into the system. Meaning that ableism is structurally based in the system. Racism, baked into the system. Classism, baked into the system. So we cannot run away from ageism. Nimemaliza ama sijamaliza?
I think we want to appreciate our panelists as they come down to seats. Give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.